Thank you very much, and I apologise for coming in late and having to leave early. It's one of those problems in Parliament where we get invited to so many different events, but despite all the invitations, I did want to come today because it's an issue that I am particularly concerned about, interested in, and have been for many years. I remember first discussing this issue back when I was a then relatively young councillor on Sheffield City Council many years ago, and had excellent tuition in these matters from a very good friend of mine who then became a councillor, sadly no longer with us, Councillor Chowdhury Wilayat, who gave me a lot of advice and information. At the time, when we discussed the matters in the council, the argument was who had the best claim over Kashmir, India or Pakistan? And I actually thought that was an inappropriate choice. The only people who have a claim over Kashmir are the people of Kashmir themselves. And in the end, it is a matter for self-determination, for them to decide, and that's our long-term objective. And we should never lose sight of that. That seems to me the goal that everyone wants to see. The people of Kashmir have a right to decide themselves on their own government arrangements, and if they want independence and a separate state, that should be something they are entitled to. Now, that aspiration, that goal, that objective seems an awful long way away at present. There isn't any real dialogue taking place, but the impossible, or the seeming impossible, can sometimes become possible in politics. You only have to look at where Germany is today and where Germany was in the 1980s, and who would have thought that the two countries would have come together and the Soviet Union would have allowed it to happen. But it did. It happened. Things change, and they can change rapidly. But I think it's also important, and why I'm really pleased to be here today at this particular event and read your manifesto, and indeed to sign up to this manifesto. I'm more than happy to put my signature to it, and join my good colleague and friend Simon Danczuk, who I know has hosted the event today, is that it seems to me that whatever long-term objectives you have in principle, and the principle is that issue of self-determination and the right of Kashmiri people to decide for themselves, in the end, you can't simply stop there and wait for that to happen and wait for those negotiations at some point to start. You've got to try and look at the immediate problems, and it seems to me there are some very real issues here about the recognition of Kashmiri identity in this country, and that would be a start if we can get a government to do that. And after the election, if I'm back from my seat and have a continued interest in local government matters, I'm certainly more than happy to engage with you in trying to put some pressure on, some influence over whoever the government is, to try and get some recognition of that. And that's something perhaps we could achieve as a very practical step. Dealing with the issues of disasters and humanitarian aid, looking at the issue of human rights and raising issues of concern and political prisoners. All those are issues that we ought to be able to, if we've got to make progress on, at least raise as concerns, at least put pressure on, at least give publicity to, and some in terms of the recognition in this country, actually decide for ourselves, irrespective of what happens between the governments of India and Pakistan. So I think this is a very practical step. It's something we can all sign up to give and demonstrate our support. I'm more than happy to do so. So it's the two commitments really. A commitment to the manifesto as a here and now, something we can do, practical, move on, make a difference, but not compromising in any way the long-term objective of self-determination we all want to see.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay.